Okay, so if you look at the first page, we're doing it a little differently this week. The first page is going to have information you need for the quiz. And about halfway down the page, I have a problem that's going to be similar to a problem on the quiz. And it shows a company's current net operating income is 12,400. Average operating assets are 60,000. Required rate of return is 12%. They're considering a new project with a required investment of 14,000. The annual net income that will be generated from that project is 2,000, and we want to know the residual income for the project. So you're just going to take the net operating income, which is given as 2,000, and you're going to go ahead and subtract the minimum required return. And the way we calculated that 1,680 is by taking the requirement on the investment of 14,000, multiplying it by 12%, the required rate of return. That's how we got 1,680. So if we subtract 1,680 from 2,000, we get residual income of 320. So you're going to do the problem on the quiz basically in the same way. So if we move on to the next page, we have homework examples. And the first one, we're calculating margin, turnover, and return on investment. And Bob Company provided us the information for sales, net operating income, and average operating assets. So to determine our margin, it's our net operating income of 4,480,000 divided by our 14 million in sales, which was 32%. I believe I rounded. Maybe I didn't, so I think that one was okay. Turnover was sales over average operating assets, which is 14 million divided by 24 million. That I did round to 0.6. And the last one is our ROI, return on investment. And in this case, there's two ways to calculate it. Either margin times turnover, which is how I calculated it since we had that information, which was, excuse me, the 32% times the, or 0.6, or the other way is net operating income divided by average operating assets. Either way, you'll get approximately the same answer. It might be a little different due to rounding, but it'll be approximately the same. So when I calculated that, I got 19%. Again, that was a rounded number. Problem number 2. And also on the quiz, you're going to have 3 problems just like this. So it'll basically be the same way you'll figure those out. Problem number 2, Bob, now the company is in Manchester, England, provides services to various companies. Last year, the net operating income was £600,000 on sales of £2,400,000. Their average operating assets were £2,800,000. Minimum required rate of return was 18%. And the currency in the United Kingdom is the pound, which is why we're using the pound. So all we had to do is take the numbers. So our net operating income is £600,000. Minimum required return is the £2,800,000 times 0.8, which is given. 0.18, excuse me, I think that says 0.8. Should say 0.18. So 2,800,000 times 0.18 is going to equal to 504,000. We just subtract the 504,000 from the 600,000 and we get 96,000 pounds. Okay, number 3. Bob has 400,000 in operating asset. Fixed expenses are 100,000 per year, and we want to know what this level of operating assets and fixed expenses, or we're told we can support sales of up to 2 million. Company's contribution margin ratio is 20%, which means that an additional dollar of sales results in additional contribution margin and net operating income of 20 cents. And we are going to go ahead and complete a table. And you're given a table in the homework problem showing the relationship between sales and return on investment. So the first thing we're figuring out is net operating income, and I believe in the homework you have 6, and I did 4. But the way we're going to figure out our net operating income is our sales times our contribution margin ratio minus fixed expenses. So our first example, we have sales of $1 million. So $1 million times 0.2 minus 100,000 would give us 200,000 minus 100,000 for a net operating income of 100,000. To compute the return on investment for that first one, we're going to go ahead and take our 100,000 of net operating income, And the average operating assets we're given is 400,000, so we're divided by the 400,000, and that gives us 25%. You're gonna do the same thing with 2, 3, and 4. Our sales of 1,100,000 times 20% is 220,000. We're gonna subtract our 100,000 in fixed expenses for 120,000. That's our net operating income. If we divide that 120,000 net operating income by 400,000, for our average operating assets, we get 30%. The third one, we're taking the sales of 1,200,000 times 20%, gives us 240,000. We're subtracting our fixed expenses of 100,000 to get 140,000. We'll then take that 140,000 in net operating income, divide it again by 400,000, our average operating assets. We get 35%. Our last one is 1,300,000 times 20%, which is 260,000 minus fixed expenses of 100,000, gives us 160,000. We'll take that net operating income of 160,000 divided by 400,000, that gives us 40%. It also asks what happens to the company's return on investment as sales increase. And what happens, if you look, you can see it quite clearly. What's happening is we're getting a 5% increase in return on investment, 25 to 30 to 35 to 40. So it's increasing by 5%. And you can do the same thing with your homework to see the percentage it's increasing by. It'll be the same exact thing for each level. And that's it.